Welcome to the Gateless Gate. This is Kyogen's man hanging from a tree. Kyogen's man hanging from a tree it's a kind of a plea to the outside world to understand the difficulty of trying to transfer a message that is beyond words and understanding to transfer. And so this is what happens is Kyogen is trying to teach these monks the path of discipleship, and he says, it's like a man hanging from a tree off a cliff, into water. And he's hanging on the tree with his teeth. So he's just gripping this tree trunk, hanging on. And a man walks up to him and says, why did the Bodhidharma come to China to deliver the true teaching? Which is a valid question. We'll find out in a later koan that monks go to their masters and ask the same thing. So why did the Bodhidharma go to China to give the true teaching? And here's the problem. The man, if he answers, what will happen? Well, if he answers, he's going to fall. And any words he says is going to lead him to destruction. But what if he just doesn't say anything? Well, if he just hangs there, then the poor observer is going to think that the man's kind of ridiculous. They're not going to understand that the man can't transmit the teaching just through words. And so you've got those two choices. You either look ridiculous or you fall. This is a reminder of the preciousness of the teaching, of that struggle we constantly have to try and help people understand the things that are transcendent, of a transcendent nature. And yet we can't describe them using material things or words. I mean, at best we can look ridiculous. At worst, we lose ourselves and the person with us as we try and explain these things that are happening. It's a koan for both the believer and the unbeliever. For the believer, you're going to look ridiculous sometimes, but what you can do is you can keep pointing to the teaching. You can keep pointing to something higher than yourself. And for the unbeliever, it's a reminder to be patient and try and understand something, because we are trying to point to something much bigger than ourselves. At the very end, Mumon gives this very interesting line. He says, Kyogen's doing the same thing. He's actually being a hypocrite because he gave this parable to try and explain it, but the parable loses us anyway. When we try and teach these things, we're teaching dead things to people. But what Mumon's trying to say is that there's real consequences. There's very real consequences to this. In some ways, Mumon himself is laughing at himself because he wrote the entire Gateless Gate and the koans. And so he made the decision to open his mouth. That's the struggle we constantly have. That's the struggle I have when I'm trying to go through this and teach these the best I can. We're trying to transmit the true teaching, and the true teaching is beyond anything that I could say or anything that you'll get out of what I say, but it is there. We're trying to reach something beyond ourselves. We're stuck where we have to just help and try and find it in ourselves. And I think we'll talk about that a little bit more next time on the Buddha's flower. So that's really exciting. One last thing to think about on Kyogen's man hanging from a tree. When you listen to me, or when you listen to anyone else who's hanging from a tree, ponder for a minute on what his real predicament may be.